Our next keynote will be from Mario Herger. It's on gamification, and I'm very happy that he is here. First of all, he is from Vienna originally, I would say, right? Like myself, I was born in Vienna, and so that is always good. It's a big advantage to be born there for several reasons, but we will not tell you why. But he has been many years with SAP. In innovative strategies and so on, and he is something like a gamification guru, you can say. He has a consultancy in California, somewhere near Silicon Valley.
In the Silicon Valley.
In the Silicon Valley, and he is also leading an Austrian innovation center there, helping startups from Austria to connect to companies in the Silicon Valley. And he knows a lot about gamification, and I thought it's a very interesting topic. In the last years, we have not had it so much in ISAGA until now, this topic, to discuss it. And I think there are some interesting connections also between the topic of gamification and traditional gaming. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy that he is here, and yeah, the stage is yours.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Let me see if the microphone is working. Am I on? Just a second. Okay, good. Technical setup. Oh, here we go. Thank you very much, Willi, for inviting me and having me here. My name is Mario, as Willi mentioned. I'm originally from Vienna. I've been living for nearly 13 years in the Silicon Valley, close to San Francisco. I moved over there when I was with SAP. SAP is the business software maker. And 4 years ago at SAP, I stumbled into this topic of gamification. So back then I was looking at how can we improve the usability, the user experience of business software. And I thought, let's take a look at video games, of why they have this reputation of such a good user experience. And by Googling it, I stumbled over the term gamification. So when I looked for gamification, there were, in August 2010, not more than 400 search results on that topic. So I was not sure if this is even the term that we're talking about. Nowadays, it's millions of those things, and I have been one of the drivers looking at how you can use game design elements in the business context for employees, for third-party employees, etc. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that, what I understand on the gamification, how it fits with games, with serious games, with simulations, etc. So let me start with this picture. This is a girl playing a video game. What do we see here in her face?
An epic win.
An epic win. Wonderful. This is already the right language here. What else do we see here?
Focus.
Focus, right. Yeah, wonderful. What else?
Enjoyment.
Enjoyment, yeah, she definitely has fun here, yeah. And as you said, it's an epic win. That means I think she's beating the shit out of something here. Yeah, so she's winning apparently. Is she relaxing? No, certainly not. Yeah, so she's working hard to beat whatever is opposing her here. Yeah, so with all her moods and attitudes, she's up here in this thing. Now think of a business application user. How would their faces look like? Yeah, somewhere here. Yeah, and then what we're aiming at is how can we get our business users, or just using an ATM machine, yeah, the first time, you're frustrated, yeah. How can we get them up a little bit closer to where she is, yeah? And that also actually explains the differences between game designers and gamification designers. Game designers always say, you don't understand game design, you gamification designers. This is just shit what you do, yeah, because you get them here, yeah, well, we have them here, but we start from here, and we get them up there, so actually we do good stuff. So these are pictures that were done by a London-based photographer called Philip Toledano. Here's one more. So this gentleman apparently is in the same situation, mood and attitude that this girl had, but what you can see better is how hard he's working, because he's really sweating here, his face, and he's certainly enjoying it, yeah? What about this gentleman? What about him? He's losing, is he? Yeah, could be, yeah. He probably just failed, maybe spectacularly even, yeah. He has certainly a dirty word on his mouth, yeah, motherfucker, or something like that. But he failed. Now, do you think he gives up and stops, or does he continue? What? He's continuing. Who is for continuing? Yeah. Who says he gives up? Exactly. So this guy will be continuing with that thing. Yeah. Now let's take a look at what gamification is. Is this gamification? No. This is a game, which has nothing to do with gamification. We just steal the game design elements. But is this a game? This is LinkedIn. Do you think this is a gamified system? Does it have something to do with games? Yeah. What elements do you think are there that we lend from game design? Can you see some? I see at least 2 or 3 of them. Yeah. So we have certainly here who's viewed your profile, 15 people in the past 3 days. Wow, it must be important. How can I get this number up? Yeah, etc. Yeah. Or my status, how often has my status been read? Yeah? How many people have seen it? How many people have liked that? This changes me, changes my habits, changes what I do, because it forces me or nudges me into doing more here. And this is what LinkedIn wants. Actually, I show you a couple of game design elements that LinkedIn is using here to change behaviors of people. And the same is true when you go with Amazon. So if you're not on LinkedIn or on Xing, or you can be on Xing, Xing is similarly gamified. Amazon is even more gamified. It also gives you time pressure, like only 3 items left in stock, act now, yeah? And then you go, oh, they can reorder some stuff. So when we look at games and work and compare those with each other, we see actually that they have a lot of things in common. They have tasks, they have feedback, goals, path to mastery, rules, information, failure, status of users, promotion, collaboration, speed, risk, autonomy, narrative, and obstacles. Yeah. So when we take a look at Angry Birds, for example, anyone knows Angry Birds? Yeah. Who does not know Angry Birds? You can, okay, here's a task for you, download it and play it, and 1 billion people can't be wrong. Just understand it, what it is, analyze it, what are the game design elements that are there. So when I look at Angry Birds, what is Angry Bird actually doing? What is the task there? What am I doing there? Shooting birds, slingshotting birds to kill some pigs. Why do I kill the pigs? Well, there's a story, whatever, they stole the eggs and now I want to get them back, yeah? So, but the basic task that I do is, when you look at me playing it, is nothing else than moving the bird in the slingshot and releasing it, yeah? So, that's all I do. Looks pretty dumb, right? From your perspective. From my perspective, that's really great fun. At work, of course, I have a lot of these repetitive things as well, and it's really dull. I'm just clicking on this Excel sheet and doing stuff, and it's dull. What is also the feedback? What is the feedback that I get at Angry Birds?
Success or failure.
Is this the feedback that I get? Yeah, so how is it reflected? How does it come over? How am I told about that? Points, stars, yeah. But do I play Angry Birds for points and stars? Who's playing that for points and stars? No? What else? Breaking? Ranking as well, yeah. Yeah. Next level, so I'm leveling up. What else? What else is the feedback? Exploding pigs, and finally, yes, I want them to explode. Yeah, I see visual effects. Yeah, I have visual effects. I have structures crumbling, pigs exploding, balloons popping, monkeys falling down, etc. Yeah, is this all feedback that I have? Is there something else?
Yeah, it's something new. Something new will happen.
Something new happens. Yeah, I learn something new. I see something new. Yeah. What else? What about audio feedback? Huh? When I do not kill the pigs, yeah, I'm not succeeding. The pigs are they're trash talking me, yeah. They're teasing me, taunting me to do it again. My own pigs help. My own birds cheer me up. They are laughing and do it, champ. And then I hear all these sounds there. So I'm all these things at work. When I use business software, yeah, or just a website, the only sound that I hear is, you did something wrong. Yeah, I never hear, bing, cha-ching, you did it, you're great, Mario. I never hear that in a business software. Yeah? This is not the only feedback that I get. The other feedback is, when you play a console game or so, you have often force feedback, so it starts rattling, this kind of thing. So I get all senses here. Yeah, and How is it at work? So maybe let me ask you one question. When was the last time that a colleague said thank you to you? Nobody can remember that? Yesterday, not today, no. This is only one person here. Isn't this a sad world, huh? So we have not institutionalized a feedback loop like that in work, in our software that we have. In games give you constantly feedback. And they tell you right now that you did it right, yeah? At work you have maybe something like a performance review feedback, yeah? That is once a year, a 360-degree assessment. So basically you learn 9 months after you finish the project that you've done something right, but then you cannot remember what you've done actually. Yeah? How fun would Angry Birds be if you learn only 3 months later that you killed the pigs? That would not be a fun game. Yeah? So the last, I'm not going through all of them. I just wanted to go through promotion. So we live in a capitalist society, yeah, where we say you earn what you deserve. If you do good work, yeah, you're getting a promotion, you're earning more money. We all know that's bullshit, yeah? You have to kiss up, you have to do good networking, and maybe you do good work to be promoted and to earn more, yeah? In games, we always know that. We know here how you can level up, how you can become better. When you see an avatar with some, virtual goods or clothing that represent a certain status, you know this person has achieved something. Here, with us, not at all. Yeah. Do you know how you can become a senior vice president or professor if you're not yet a professor? Is there something like publish 10 studies, yeah, and then you become a professor, or win customers, make deals of 10 million euro, and you're getting promoted? There's nothing like that. So we have a very intransparent system. And also, you may not know, how did my professor get up to this place? Huh? Or you made us know from other companies, yeah, how did that asshole get to this locate, to that place, that position? Yeah? Now, when we look at gamification and compare that to games and serious games, we see a couple of differences. For example, play is, as you know, is spontaneous. It has no rules. It has no goals. So if a boy takes an object and pretends this is a car, like this is play. Yeah. A game, on the other hand, has rules, has goals. It is structured, and it typically has a end condition. Yeah. The aim for a game is typically to end it. Yeah. To win it, to end it as fast as possible. A serious game now comes a little bit with this thing that it brings also a real-world outcome. Yeah? In a game like Monopoly, I'm not a millionaire if I'm a millionaire Monopoly. Yeah? But in a serious game, I may learn skills that I can apply on real world. A simulation, similarly, a simulation is also in the system sometimes. Yeah? So it is a simulation in the flight cockpit. It is a simulation in the ERP system to simulate a business transaction. Yeah? These are the differences. Gamification, on the other hand, is typically in the system itself. So it's in the CRM system, it's in the ERP system, it's in LinkedIn, it's in Amazon. That's not a separate system from it. A serious game is typically out of it. Yeah? When I learn about management skills, it's not in a management tool that I use. It's somewhere else where I play it. So when we look at the purposes of gamification, I identified at least 4 of them. I struggle with 1 or 2 more. I have not yet made up my mind of how I put it in. And the first one is we want people to engage. We want them to enter data faster, to enter more data. So this is an example of a consulting company aiming at having people enter their build hours faster in the system. And so they get here little smileys if they did it in time, and a face that is crying if they did not. So as silly as this may sound, this led to 100% compliance in this company. Before that, they had like 20% compliance of people doing that within time. Another one is teaching. Of course, we want to teach people skills such as learning about technologies that the salespeople sell to customers. So we put them into a fictitious sales negotiation, and by answering questions and responding to the questions of these fictitious customers, they learn about their own technologies. We want to entertain them, such as with a game called Paul the Octopus, where they, they predicted soccer results. And this is a mobile game that this company built, SAP, to engage their fans, but more entertain users of these things. Yeah, and of course, the secondary purpose was a little bit also to teach them about the underlying software that is behind that. And then the fourth one is measuring. So if you're hiring, for example, people want to recruit somebody, but you need them to be persistent and shows that they can learn and try alternative paths, there are a couple of games available that actually test that before you hire them. You test them before you even interview them. So these are four purposes. There may be others, such as crowdsourcing, where I want people to help me find some things, like in a game called Folded, to fold three-dimensional structures. I'm not yet sure if it fits. I put it currently under Engage. Now, what is gamification? Gamification is something that changes behaviors. Gamification creates habits. Gamification gives feedback. It teaches, engages, entertains, and measures. That's what we just heard. It cares about the player's interests and motivations. This is very different from how we deal with people today. Yeah? Today, it's all about the managers and the company's interests, and the shareholders' interests, not about the players, not about the employees. It allows the players to experience a gameful state. If they go into a gameful state, it's up to the player. As a gamification designer, I can just lower the barrier so they have it easier to experience a gameful state. It benefits the player, and that is very important. I first look at the player. That's why I call employees and these users players, because then I have to focus on what's their motivation, what's their interest, what's fun for them. Indirectly, it benefits the other stakeholders, because engaged people, engaged players do way more than they would normally do. And this benefits the customers, this benefits the company. It's not about competition. Many people confuse games with competition. Competition actually is one of the least important elements here. Yeah, a lot of more is about socializing. And it enables fun. So when I look at it from an architectural point of view, overview, we have gamification, simulation, serious game, adware games, and I put a couple of examples here. I can share the slides with you so they can take a look at that. But I put them in system and out system. In system means it is in the business system, or it is outside the business system. So LinkedIn is in the business system. A training application, simulation, like for example, SAP Road Warrior, where I teach my salespeople how to sell stuff and what the technology is out of system. It's not in the CRM system. And then we are talking here about infinite and finite games. A finite game has an end. Typically, serious games are finite games. I go through them, go full level, and I'm done with that. Yeah? An infinite game, like a CRM system, a community, is not ending. LinkedIn has no end. So if it tends to end, if it threatens to end, I have to change the rules. I have to change the rules while we are playing it to make sure that it's infinite. And then we are talking here about using our elements in a non-game context, like LinkedIn, yeah, or a simulation or an ERP system, or in a game context where we build it really as a game, not necessarily for entertainment, but for teaching. So in overall, I call it then all these elements are for me what I summarize under enterprise gamification. Because as a practitioner from the corporations, I'm not interested in if this is called serious game or if it's called gamification. As long as it helps me to solve the problems in a gameful way, it's for me enterprise gamification, and it's valid. So definition is, it empathizes with people by adding gameful experiences, helping them to fulfill their interests and motivations for the benefit of all involved parties. Or, as I would say, make work more fun. Let's take a look at the video.
Rex, mon partenaire Marcel.
Okay, so French town, apparently, those French. French town, evening, summer evening, people have, had apparently a good evening, had some dinner, pass by walking around, just take a nice walk, and then they see something. What do they see? Bikes, a familiar user interface, yeah? Bicycles that are up there. And then somebody tries it out, sits down and starts doing something. What happens next? We get feedback, exactly. We get visual feedback. Yeah, we see, okay, there's a light going up. Yeah, and others jump in, and suddenly we have more lights, and then we have audio feedback. Yeah, the music starts playing, and suddenly we have a goal. What's the goal? Get the guy naked, right? Get him stripped. Exactly. It's actually surprising how often people do not understand what's the goal here. They say, well, get fit, do some biking exercises, work together. No, there's a guy there that's the goal that they want to have. Yeah. Did you see somebody who's standing there with a 60-page manual explaining them what to do? No. This was smooth onboarding. Yeah, the people were familiar with what they had here, this exercise bike, and then they had a goal. And then they worked together, they collaborated, yeah, to get there. Now, were they successful with stripping the guy? Half? They didn't see the crown jewels, right? That's what they wanted to see. But they reached a different goal, actually. What was the other goal? Lose calories, yeah, be fit, yeah. And of course, the company behind that, because it was an advertising commercial, is that the company sold more bottles of water, yeah. Now, if I had gone there and said, hey, you want to lose 2,000 calories right now? Yeah. Would you have said yes? No, exactly. Fuck off. I just had a good dinner. Yeah? I'm not do some exercise. But of course, being fit is something that's an intrinsic goal. I want to be fit. I want to look good. Yeah? I want to be sexy and so on. But they did it in a different way. So they indirectly got them to do that. They looked at what is it that makes them interesting. What makes them interested. And they didn't use any of these typical design elements that you may hear, like points, badges, leaderboards. There was nothing like that. There were some other elements there that they used in order to make it fun. Now, that's one of the reasons why we use game design elements. Yeah. So this gentleman is ready for everything, yeah? He has a keyboard, he has a mouse, he has a headset, he has this three-dimensional rendering screen called window, yeah? And he's ready to tackle every challenge that's coming his way. But the most maybe challenging thing there is the neighbor's cat crossing the street. So it's pretty boring for him. And that is basically a reason why we look at gamification at games, because games, the real life is pretty boring. And when we look at engagement of people at work, yeah, Gallup has been doing for several decades now studies, polls with employees, and we talk about several 100,000 employees worldwide. We see that only 30% in the US, only 30% of employees are engaged at work. Yeah. So not engaged 52% and actively disengaged 18%. So these are people really who sabotage work, who cost you money there. And that's already a pretty good number, actually, because if you look at Austria, it's my hometown, my home country, 14% of people are only engaged, yeah? But we have 74% who are not engaged according to that. There's a link in the notes of this presentation. You can take a look at the map and look at your country, like the Netherlands or France or wherever you're from. Take a look at that. So this is what we call the engagement crisis. People are not really engaged at work because they're missing this feedback. They're missing this kind of path of how can I become better? How can I interact with others? Yeah, socialize, etc. And when we look at what has been dominating work since basically the Industrial Revolution, this has been the Homo economicus. The Homo economicus is the person who values work as an instrumental means for monetary gains. It's just about money. I want to make money here. But then we have also the Homo faber. The Homo faber sees work as something that is intrinsically challenging, has intrinsical meaning for me. I'm kind of loving my work, yeah, and this is what's work about. You've heard about these people who've worked all their life, then they retire, are happy about it, and they just have lost the meaning in their life. Yeah? Or if they lose their job, they lost their meaning and their value. And then we have the Homo ludens, Johann Huizinga, who values the rituals of play within work. While in the past 150 years, the Homo economicus is dominating that, we're coming now to a phase where we basically merge them and bring them together. When we also look at who's playing, who are the players that we talk about, in gamification typically, or with the serious games or simulations, we often talk about the white-collar workers, people who work in an office, people who work with computers, who have these higher status jobs. But we never really look at the blue-collar worker. And I come from a blue-collar worker background, so I'm empathizing a lot with them. And for them, it's not so easy to be motivated or be engaged when certain things are missing. And what they value are things such as meaning. In every job, there is a meaning. Yeah, the ditch digger, yeah, the whopper flopper, the miners, or the toilet cleaner. This is all really important work for everyone. Yeah, you don't want to work on something where you know that is not of importance. You would be frustrated as well if you do some work and there's no meaning for that, or a bad meaning for that. You want dignity, yeah? So you don't want to be yelled at or abused at work, etc. So this is an important component as well. You want to have this camaraderie. Most of your wake time, you're with your colleagues, not with your family. Yeah? So you want to have a good relationship with them and an opportunity to relate to them. And then you want to have autonomy. Not this here, but this here, yeah? And I have to bring it in because Conchita Wurst is from Austria and we won the Eurovision Song Contest. And now with all these problems that we have to pay for the next Eurovision Song Contest next year, and it costs a lot of money. So, let's take a look at another video where we show off how somebody looks at the goals and interests of somebody else.
So what would it take for you to not pee on the toilet seat?
A lot.
Oh, such an adorable boy. So one question for the girls and the boys, please shut your mouth. Yeah. What was the purpose of this green pea falling into the water? No, only the girls, please. Any guesses?
It was a target.
It's a target, yeah. So you have a brother or sons or something like that. Well, so because I get this question a lot from women, yeah. I don't get the pea here. What does it mean? Why is it there? Yeah. And some guess, okay, it's to check that the parents can check that he actually lifted the toilet seat. Yeah, maybe one, but it's actually a target. Men are typically very distracted. So in Amsterdam's Schiphol airport 20 years ago, they put in these ceramic flies in the urinals, yeah, and this reduced cleaning costs by 80% actually. Yeah, so because when we are doing it like that, we're going like hunters on that. Let's not talk about that anymore. What have we seen here? We have seen here the son not lifting the toilet seat, so he sprays all over. Whose problem is that?
The cleaner's problem. The cleaner's problem.
The cleaners. Oh, you have cleaner, okay? if you don't have it, it's you. right. Exactly. So it's the parents' problem. Yeah. So what could the parents do If you had not seen the video and you had not this option, what would you have done? What would be a suggestion? What could you do to get the boy to lift the toilet seat? Make it clean himself. He probably makes more mess afterwards. Yeah. What else?
Point system.
Point system. No, don't think about games already. The boy. I could punish him. Yeah. I could say, if you do it again, no videos, no cartoons, no, I don't know, ice cream or so. Yeah. I was in Switzerland 6-7 weeks ago, and they said, well, we could beat him. Yeah. That's Switzerland. It's a tough country. Yeah. I'm not suggesting that. Or supervising, monitoring. Yeah? But as soon as the parents are not here anymore supervising or punishing, the behavior would still be again there. So what does the father do? The father, the manager, looks at the son, the employee, what he's interested in. And apparently his motivations and interests are cowboys. Yeah, so he creates this visual effect by putting this cowboy on the toilet lid and the drum guns on the toilet seat. Yeah, so that comes in there, and suddenly we have a story. Yeah, we have it themed. It's a high noon situation, and the boy plays there, and we have audio feedback, the music playing there. We have visual feedback. We have a challenge, and we're apparently successful. 44% increase in lifting the toilet seats, which is fantastic. If I can increase my sales by 44%, I would be the best salesperson in the department, would get promoted. Yeah. And at the end, we see two more things, some unintended consequences. The underpants there, the toilet paper, is this good, is this bad? It's another thing, exactly. As a gamification designer, fantastic. I can enrich the game. I can make it longer lasting. I can put new challenges out there. Exactly. So that's how I have to look at it. Now, why does gamification work? You are certainly very familiar with the things like the flow theory. What we try to do is to bring people into a balance between skills that they have and difficulty. You know, typically in a business environment, the first time you have to use a customer relationship management system, so an ERP system, and you go in and you're just overwhelmed. Yeah? Just do it, go to an ATM machine from a different bank, yeah, or a new website and try to fill out some forms. You may be overwhelmed because you have no clue what's going on there. So that is basically the frustration zone that we are. Yeah? Or if it's too easy, if it's not increasing the challenge, we are being bored. But if we keep it there, it's working like this. So with Angry Birds, when we start and play it the first time Angry Birds, we have just one bird, the red bird, because we don't know anything about the game. But slowly we improve and learn, and then suddenly we get a second bird. It becomes more difficult, gradually more difficult. That's what the flow theory does. Now, let's take a look at Bartels player types, and you're very familiar with that. We know we have the killers. The killers are these people who want to win, who are very competitive. Yeah. Then we have the people who are the achievers, who want all the gold coins, who want all the stuff there, who pay $100,000 and more in-game purchases. Some of them who have the money. These are the whales just to have this Gucci bag, branded bag for $2,000. Then we have the explorers. They want to go in every corner, open every door, every house, every cabinet. And even if they're done, they log in with a different avatar because a mouse can go in the mouse hole while a cat cannot. And then we have the socializers. They play games mostly and primarily to meet other people, even if these are computer-generated characters. Now, we're typically all four of them. Yeah? But if those were mutually exclusive traits, how many people do you think would be pure killers? Give me a percentage. How many? 10%? 5 to 20? 5 to 20? 2 to 20? Okay. How many people are achievers? 20, 15 to 20?
25.
15 to 25? Okay. How many people are explorers?
Mostly.
5? 30? 5 to 30?
15.
Okay, 5 to 30. We have 5 to 30. And how many people are socializers? We have to have at the end 100%, yeah? So how many people are socializers?
40.
40?
40, yeah. 70%.
What was that other number? I couldn't hear it. 50, 40 to 50. Okay, let's take a look, yeah? So if you come with a competitive design, you're catering towards less than 1% of the people, and these are mostly not women, unless you're married to my wife. But socializes is what we want to cater towards. And when we use gamification in a work environment, we form companies to collaborate, because together we can do more than by competing against each other. And actually, if you think we are competing all the time, that's not true. You could not compete all the time. And even as companies, we're not competing against other companies. We're competing against the problem that our customers have. If you are a pharmaceutical company, you're not competing against other pharmaceutical companies. You're competing against a disease. Yeah, that's what your target is. If you're competing against another company, you become unethical in your behavior. Yeah, and you certainly will become unethical in your behavior. So game design elements that we use are things like a progress bar or avatars. So this is Waze, which is a kind of a navigation application such as Google Maps, or a leaderboard or badges, or just a story like some of you may remember that Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, which is kind of a geography learning game, or you use decorative elements such as used in Candy Crush. Now there are probably 200 of these game design elements, points, badges, leaderboard, just 3 of them, and you should not really use them too much. But when we talk about motivations and rewards, we also talk about what we call extrinsic and intrinsic motivators. Extrinsic motivators come from outside. So I say, if you do that, if you bring me that report, you get $500 bonus. If you clean up your room today, you get ice cream. Yeah, that's an extrinsic motivator. An intrinsic motivator is driven by an interest. I do that because I like to do that. The task itself becomes the reward for me. Yeah. So when we look at extrinsic rewards, these are points, levels, badges, quests, leaderboards, prize, money, gold stars, etc. While intrinsic values, intrinsic rewards are belonging to a larger community, having autonomy, having power, being a master, learning. There's a meaning in there, etc. So if you have troubles with understanding that, just think of it. In 70 years from now, you're laying on your deathbed. You have made peace that you're going to die. What will you remember in that moment? The miles that you collected in the frequent flyer program? The points from the community? The points in Angry Birds? No, you will remember the relationships that you had, the experiences that you had. Let's take a look at how rewards can wreak havoc with your expectations.
So that's the experiment we did. Recently, we videotaped it with new monkeys who had never done the task, thinking that maybe they would have a stronger reaction, and that turned out to be right. The one on the left is the monkey who gets cucumber. The one on the right is the one who gets grapes. The one who gets cucumber, note that the first piece of cucumber is perfectly fine. The first piece she eats. Then she sees the other one getting grape, and you will see what happens. So she gives a rock to us, that's the task. And we give her a piece of cucumber, and she eats it. The other one needs to give a rock to us. And that's what she does. And she gets a grape. And she eats it. The other one sees that. She gives a rock to us now, gets again cucumber.
Yeah, right.
She tests a rock now against the wall. She needs to give it to us. And she gets cucumber again. So this is basically the Wall Street protest that you see here.
So I showed that video because it shows you how rewards can wreak havoc with actually motivation of people. Yeah. Currently, the gamification community often talks about rewards, but they actually can damage a lot, yeah? Because you lose interest. You have an interest in getting the reward. If you give a child, if you want to get a child interested in reading a book, yeah, and you promise for each book a sticker, what will the child do? Select the thinnest book with the largest fonts, yeah? And if the reward is gone, the child stops reading the books. Yeah. So while we all understand that, we still think of, oh, what about bonuses at work or this kind of stuff? Yeah. And there it's perfectly fine. No, it creates exactly also these kind of behaviors with employees. We've seen that with the financial system. Yeah, and that has a lot of damage, creates a lot of damage on the world. Now, let me go to a larger, come to the last slides, I'm nearly done, yeah, to one larger story about gamification. It's not just about games, and I know this is a picture that cannot be unseen. That is how you do career today. This is a German career fair. Those Germans, I tell you. But actually what's happening is, when we look at the larger picture, we do not have only one gamified system, but at work probably all systems becoming gamified, which also means I'm collecting a lot of data on my players. In order to see how well they are doing, I need to track their data, etc. That means I get their skills. I have a skill profile. The first time I have data-based skill profiles and a way to make better decisions on how to promote them and who are my people experts in certain areas. Games such as World of Warcraft have these player stats here. They have more data on your on the players than companies have on employees. And not only for them, you also see, once you're in a team like a battle group, you have all this data from your other players in there. At work, I normally do not know how is my colleague doing? Can I help him? Should I help them, etc. Yeah, and it doesn't help me if I win and the others are losing. The overall company is losing with that thing. So I need something like that. So their first approach starts that what we call competency scores, where we put multiple competencies on such a chart visualization to see where it can improve. If you want to learn more about that, so we have what is called the Enterprise Gamification Consultancies. I have 3 partners. They are, as you can see, in the US, in Australia, and in Germany. We work together, all gamification designers. If you want to learn more, I have 2 books. One book is already out. This one comes out in July, so the next days it's available. It's called Enterprise Gamification, and engaging people by letting them have fun, which is hopefully bringing the field forward. It's on Amazon. I will send around the link once the link is published. And if you want to get in touch with me, here's some more information. I'll be hanging out the whole afternoon here. If you have any questions, thank you very much for your attention.